So we're talking a lot about next target as one of the scoring criteria, right? So what does that mean? How it works? And some examples. I'm going to drive you through these 4 slides so that you better understand what does next target mean, and then you can apply it better. So first we always start with the market stages and understand where you are in terms of the positioning. What is your market context? Are you in an early market and creating a new category? Or are you in a mature and competitive market? That's the left side and that's the right side. And this is, as you know, the technology adoption life cycle. And in the middle, we may or may not have an adoption chasm. And the chasm is famous because of the book, but what that means is that the adopter profiles in these continuous innovations, not in any kind of innovation, just in those innovations that are true disrupting, that disrupt the way the things are done. The workflows of the end users are very expensive and they are quite unique, brand new, something that needs a lot of learnings and something that may be perceived as too risky to adopt. So these continuous innovations, they have a chasm. If we don't have any of those high risk perception attributes, if we are entering a mainstream market and launching a product that whose competitors are already in the mainstream, we are not facing the chasm, and that's because we've talked about this, or we will talk, depending on when you're watching this video, before or after the first lesson. Uh, Depending on where you're at, you will face a chasm or you will not, and depending on the category you're in. The point is that at the very beginning, if you're in an early market with technology, you can go with an horizontal positioning, talking about your product and about your technology without talking too much about vertical specifications, like which industry are you better positioned to help, which specific problem for a specific vertical or segment or industry. You don't need that when you are creating a new category or when you are in an early market, and neither about application. It is recommended, but here the thing is that, and it's always led by how innovators and early adopters think. They don't need that deep understanding because they translate your technology and product messages into benefits, right? So they are specialists, most of them, and they make their minds translate what you provide in terms of technology and product into an advantage for them. So that's in an early market, those first adopters, innovators, and early adopters. That's why you can go horizontal. But that being said, we are teaching you all how to go more specific because you want to start this exercise as soon as possible. Because what crosses to the mainstream, and remember, the mainstream is the big chunk of the opportunity. Most of your prospective buyers are in the mainstream. You can expect 64% at least of any given markets to be into the mainstream, whereas early markets are just 15, 16%. So the more specific you go, the earlier you can cross to the mainstream, and the more ready. I mean, you need to get ready your product, complete your product, and we will talk a lot about completing a product. So if you want to cross the mainstream, you have to be more specific. So what that means, we're trying to help you building a forward-thinking strategy. So thinking about verticals, segments, applications that you can target as soon as possible because you solve a problem really well for them. So that way you can become adopted by the mainstream early enough, right? What that means, what platform means? Platform means that once we cross from the early majority to the late majority, uh, the positioning can be, again, a little bit more horizontal in terms of providing different solutions. And Stripe is a great example of that. And we will talk about the Stripe right now. So you can go from specific to platform as the market develops, but that takes years, of course. The point is that now that we are in a launch process, is about understanding where are we launching. Are we launching in a mainstream, in an early market? If we are in an early market, it's fine to start with horizontal positioning messages, but we are performing this exercise of opportunity scoring to build your path to the mainstream. I became more specific. If you are directly launching into the mainstream, you have to do this exercise right away because it's critical to differentiate your positioning. And what is this exercise of next target? And how do we assess that? Well, this is the bowling pin strategy. And the bowling pin strategy, as it says, it works like the balls, right? So you have the different pins, and these represent the different pins. And the idea with this strategy is to hit really hard and strategically the first pin. And each of the pins is a different application or a different segment. And now we will see some examples with Stripe. So you target one application and segment. Why? Well, there are different reasons, but first of all, if you sell to everyone, you sell to no one. So we have to speak to our customer. If we are horizontal at the beginning, that's okay. But if we want to cross to the mainstream, we have to speak directly to the different targets that we may have. And we have to talk in terms of their pains, of their problems, and how our solution help solve their specific problems. Because different segments and different buyers, they have different ways of talking and describing their problems. And you may need different solutions and applications to to solve their problems. But also because most of the times, well, not most of the times, always there are limited resources. Even if you are an enterprise, there is always a limiting resource, right? So you don't want to go wide and suddenly get out of resources and don't have a scalable business model because you are targeting 25 different use cases and 25 different personas or segments, right? So first of all, you have limited resources. Secondly, the competition will use any opportunity to capture your market. That means if you don't become a market leader with a huge amount of customer base in one of the segments or in one of the applications, that means an opportunity for the competition to capture that market. Why? Because once you enter into the mainstream, remember, mainstream wants safe choices, and the safest choice they can pick is the market leader. So the sooner you win one of the segments, the more protected you will be, because you can prove that you are the market leader with plenty of different wins, use cases. You can prove that, and that means attracting more risk-averse buyers, and that means they won't go with the competition. So that means building a defensible barrier. So you build a defensible barrier by winning a specific segment or application and then growing from there, because that's a defensible position. If you are going to attack different segments and applications and spreading your resources, that means that you may be delaying to capture an entire segment and to win and to become the market leader of an entire segment. And that means that the competition can, if they focus all their efforts in just one segment, they can achieve market leadership faster than you. Then you need to be different. So you go horizontal and then you have competition and you all talk about the same. You are all horizontal. You're not different. If you have a market leaders typically are horizontal because they don't need to do something different. Now, if you say that you are, for example, let's say Stripe example or a CRM, let's say, we are a CRM specialized in small businesses. So there are not much CRM specialized in small businesses, and you potentially have features for that and specific services that that are specifically designed for small businesses needs. So you can go after those small businesses, win that segment, and then grow from there. Once you say that you are for small businesses, you are different from Salesforce. Salesforce is horizontal, right? Like Stripe. Stripe is horizontal. They don't say we are for startups or we are for small and medium businesses or we just do this specific use case or application. They go after the entire end-to-end workflow of a CRM, or of a payments through invoicing in the case of Stripe, right? And that's because they are market leaders. But if you are not the market leader, really safe way to differentiate is focus specifically on a segmented application. So that's the third reason. And the fourth reason is you need to build credibility through references and cases. As said, that's how you build a defensible position. So if you, let's say that you are targeting horizontally, and then because of your limited resources, you can serve, let's say, 6 customers. And then those 6 customers, you have those 6 customers that they have different problems and they are in different segments. Now you go to your 7th customer and you just have one case to show that customer because you are serving quite different customers. So you cannot reference all those customers. So it is better to grow your customer base in that specific segment and application, because the faster you grow that, the more credibility you will have. Plus, you have word of mouth references in terms of uh, when decision makers they meet with each other, let's say in online communities or in LinkedIn or in on-site events, in business events, in industry events, they talk to each other and they trust to each other because they are lookalike people. They communicate the same way. They have the same problems, the same issues. So they say, okay, how are you solving this problem? Okay, I'm using this solution, right? So you want to be in that conversation. But to be in that conversation, that means that you have to build that credibility in just one segment, because otherwise you won't be in that conversation. You will be targeting different segments that are not referencing each other. I mean, if you're targeting, for example, a human resources decision maker, and solving a problem for human resources and then solving a problem for sales, they don't talk to each other because they don't speak the same language. They are not in the same channels. They don't share communities. They don't share industry events. So they don't talk to each other. They cannot reference you. So in that case, communication is breaking. So you cannot leverage word of mouth. And you want to leverage word of mouth as soon as possible to reduce your customer acquisition costs. So that's why this bowling pin strategy works, because bowling pin strategy solves all these issues by focusing on a specific segment, vertical, or application. You will be focusing your limited resources in winning that segment, in building credibility through references and use cases, building referenceability through word of mouth, being different than your competition, and also closing the doors to the competition. And that's basically all the reasons that you may want to have a look to this. And this is when we say next target in the scoring exercise. That means, okay, now we are here. We decided to go after this target, but let's say that we capture this target, this first application for CRM for small and medium businesses. From here, if we build credibility in this segment, the small and medium businesses, can we jump into the enterprise segment? That will be segment 2, application 1. So we're solving the same problem, but for another segment. In this case, let's say enterprise. I would say no, because they are not in the same channel. That's something that you want to explore in the market, but it's just an example. However, if you say, okay, instead of became a CRM specific for the small and medium businesses, and the second segment is the enterprises, which is not a really good follow-on segment, so we may be stuck in the first segment and not have opportunities to grow fast. You may want to say, okay, can we become a really well-known solution and the go-to solution, let's say, for example, for financial services. So you verticalize your CRM and you solve the problem specifically for financial services. So you go after segment 1, which is financial services, small and medium businesses. But then you want to jump, who is your segment 2? Okay, you can say enterprises. And in this case, because you are not horizontal, you are vertical, they reference to each other. You can use those references because financial services is the way you are defining the market. So enterprises might think that because you are an expert in financial services, you can help them. However, if you say I'm an expert in small and medium businesses, enterprises may think, okay, these guys cannot help me. So, we have to play with the boundaries of the market to define the segments and the next target. Examples, which is the interesting part to make sense of all of it, right? Bowling pin example to capture the market. This is Jasper AI, and it's a kind of copy and messaging artificial intelligence platform. So you can go to them and you can say, okay, change this copywriting for the website or generate the copywriting for the website. And this example of Jasper, it's for the same segment, but with different applications. So it's how they are growing, right? I've been using them for quite a while. And they started targeting founders, agencies, and copywriters with short length content writing. That means small copies of less than 250 characters or 500 characters, and you would be able to say, hey, provide me a copywriting for this headline of my new product or the benefit section, or change this benefit section and improve it with this tone and this voice. Short length content writing, something very specific. Then they evolved and targeting the same folks, founders, agencies, and copywriters, a new application. Long length content writing. Now you have founders, agencies, copywriters that can build SEO optimized posts with Jasper, which is more than 3,000 characters or words, which is long length content writing. Now you have a new use case. So instead of short copies, now you can build your entire blog post with Jasper. And that may or may not be a new pricing tier. That's up to you and depends a lot on the market needs. That's a way to expand your business. And that's the second pin. In this case, same segment, founders, agencies, copywriters, a different application of the same technology, which is an extension of the product. So you change the interface, you probably use the same engine, but you are providing a new solution, a new application, a new use case, long length content writing. And now from there, okay, how do we grow from there? Okay, we are missing creativities. These folks, founders, agencies, copywriters are telling us that they want creativities for their web, which copy they have built with Jasper, and for their blog posts, whose copy they built with Jasper also. Okay, we're launching art, Jasper Art, which is creativities, AI-driven creativities, meaning that with AI you create the creativities for that. So that's again an extension of the product that you can sell to the same target. So you keep expanding and you charge a different amount of money for that, and you keep expanding. But first, they focused on short length content writing, and they focus on that segment. And once they have a predictable pool of clients, predictable revenue, profitable revenue, and that defensible position, by doing that specific application for that specific kind of user, is when they start to grow. And then we have Stripe. Stripe is the case of a market leader, right? But they didn't build a market leadership position. They didn't become horizontal right from scratch. Well, they were horizontal at the beginning because at the beginning they were creating a market of payments platform, a kind of API. It was more an API than a platform. And in this example, they have been growing through different segments and through different applications, but they were very specific payments API for e-commerce. Their messaging was horizontal, but e-commerce were the early clients they were attracting, and they built a strong position by selling this and by targeting this. Now from there, with SaaS businesses, subscription-based businesses, they started to use their APIs because they were solving a problem also worthwhile for the software as a service businesses. So they thought, okay, let's make it easier for software as a service businesses so that we can grow more in software as a service businesses. So they created the subscription management product for software as a services. So you have a new application right there for software as a service and a new segment, which is SaaS. So they expand into there. And now once they start seeing that SaaS are coming through, a lot of SaaS are startups that need to create a new company and incorporate a new company. So they say, okay, let's help new companies incorporate so we can get more clients, not only through the new service that they were creating, but through the subscription management and through the other different and through the other different revenue models that we have and the other different products or offerings that we have, right? So they create, and we call it complete the product. They completed the product for startups with Stripe Atlas, completing the product with an extra service. What that means? That means that startups were, and this is a guess, I have to be super honest, this is a guess, but it's a guess based on my experience and what I've been talking with another colleague. And startups were coming through Stripe. The first time I was using Stripe, I was, okay, I need Stripe, but I was figuring that out, but I need to incorporate another company when I created Retail Innovation. And I was, okay, these folks, they have an incorporation service. So they have everything you need. You incorporate with them, and then, suddenly you are in the same platform and you use their invoice management, in my case, invoice management and payments checkout page, right? In the services, which is another bowling pin, it's services, right? So the point is that they are jumping from one position, from one segment and application to another without changing their positioning, because they can be horizontal because they are the market leader, as said. And right now they are offering also accounting automation and invoice management to all those different segments. So it's not about, suddenly we boom, explode, and we are the market leader. And suddenly, we target all the use cases and we target all the different applications. No, that's not the way you build a market leadership positioning and defensible position. The way is you started with e-commerce payments API, then with the success that they could reference and with the credibility they built with early software as a services, they build the subscription management, then startups with complete product with Stripe Atlas, and now they sell to all of them accounting automation and invoice management. That's the way of thinking to build um, the bowling pin strategy. So that's what we're trying to help you think in that. That's just one specific part of scoring your target segments and applications, but this can be a helpful framework for this startup, this product, or any product in the future, so that you can penetrate in a mainstream market, you can differentiate, and you can build a market leadership position. I hope this is helpful, and if not, I'll look for your questions in the community. See you later.